Hey guys, Luke with Logical Lacrosse here, and for this video I'm going to be going over the Division 1 premiere for the St. Bonaventure Bonnies. So the Bonnies opened up their Division 1 slate at High Point, and they definitely showed that they were a new program. I thought they did some things really well. Some things they did better than Utah, and Utah definitely got a lot more hype going in. I think Bonaventure really didn't get talked about as much. I mean, a lot of people probably don't even know that they have a D1 team. But I thought they did some things well. They definitely struggled, and it'll show in the score that I'm about to read off. High Point won the game 13-0, so obviously a shutout. Not what you want to have happen for your first game. But, I mean, when I read you the shots later off in the list, you're going to be pretty impressed they kept it just to 13. So we'll get into the statistics now for both teams, and I'll start with the game leaders for High Point, who were led in goals by Chris Young. He had 4 goals. Asher Knowlton had 3, and he had some great plays. And he led the team in assists. He had 4 assists, and those were impressive assists. I mean, they were not simple little lobs. I mean, he was drilling them into tight coverage by the Bonnies' deep holes and leading his guys correctly where no one else could tip it. I mean, they were impressive. He looked very good. We had to scout him for Air Force last year, so they know all about him. Tim Troutner, congratulations. He posted a shutout. He only had to make 6 saves, but I mean that's pretty impressive. A shutout, you never see that in lacrosse, let alone Division 1 lacrosse. So he'll be able to brag about that for the rest of his life. He did good on his clears, so good job for Tim Troutner. It's gonna be tough to follow up on that performance. But Davis Sampier led the team in 9 ground balls. So as you can kind of gather from this list, for High Point, a lot of guys made big plays and contributed in their own way. For the Bonnies, obviously they don't have any goal or assist leaders because they didn't score, but one star of the game was Brett Dobson. This will get forgotten by people that didn't watch the game, but this guy was an absolute monster. He's a true freshman from what I read, and this guy had 23 saves off of 62 shots. I believe at the end of the first quarter, he had 10 saves. I mean, this guy just got nuked. And he was saving shots that were right on his doorstep from outside off of basically one-timers. He's a hockey term. I mean, this guy was making everything. He also led the team in ground balls with 6. Probably not good that your goalie leads your team in ground balls. But, I mean, the great effort by that guy. I mean, he was very fun to watch. So that was a great first performance for him at the Division 1 level. For shots, I said already, High Point 62. The Bonnies only had 17 the whole game. So you can really tell that they struggled to force good opportunities to get the ball in the back of the net. Ground balls, High Point outworked them clearly, 58-27. Clears, High Point 19-21, so really good rate. And the Bonnies really struggled on this. They were 18-28. You could tell they were one of the younger programs. Really had some sloppy passes, some drop passes. I noticed a lot of guys worked. I mean, you got to give credit to High Point on this. They did really well on the ride, but some St. Bonaventure players would run into a double on the clear instead of pass. And for all you youth players, when you're going to get double on a clear, there has to be someone open. So that's something they're going to have to work on in the future. Turnovers, High Point only had 16 compared to the Bonnies' 33. So they're going to have to work on bringing the 33 turnovers down. A lot of those were self-inflicted. Both teams did go 0 for 3 on the man up. So that's something High Point's going to have to work on. And I have to credit the Bonaventure defense for doing that. They were 100% for those. High Point basically had the ball the whole game. So, I mean, the defense really never gave up. And they deserve credit for being a man down against a good offense with Asher Knowlton there. I mean, he was ripping some shots on the man up, and they were able to stop him and force some turnovers, and that was good. So those were the stats. I'll go into more of the game story now. And the game started off really well for the Bonnies. I mean, it took about 4 minutes for a goal to be scored by High Point, and the Bonnies actually started with a man up, so I was thinking, hey, they might get some momentum here early on. Obviously, they couldn't convert. It's kind of a weak attempt at a goal. It was the man up. The guy had it at the bottom left corner from goal line extended, and he dodged to score a goal, which was kind of interesting to me. you really shouldn't be dodging on a man up if you're the offense. So that's something they're going to have to get cleaned up. So then High Point picked that up, passed down the field on a clear. They score off of a rebound, so it was saved by Dobbins, and then I think it was Asher Nolte got that one. He picked it up off the rebound and scored. So it was a really good goal. High Point did a good job getting skip passes across the Bonnie's defense, so that's something they're going to have to clean up. You notice their guys on the far side, they would pass it, they'd be down at goal line extended, they pass it up all the way opposite corner up top for a shot. So that's one thing they're going to have to work on. I thought the Bonnie's defense did do a good job at tipping passes. They forced some really good turnovers. Their wing play on defense and on the alleys was definitely better than Utah's. So there's some kudos to those guys there. I mentioned the clears, and that was the killer. The deep pulls, I noticed, had to carry it up way too much for the Bonnies clear, because it just seemed like no one was getting open, no one was moving, and the deep pulls looked a little slow. I think obviously they're probably pretty tired, but I noticed they got doubled a lot, and no one really helped them out. A lot of drop passes. So I mean, I think there were a lot of nerves. A lot of these guys, they never played a collegiate game, and it showed. One really bad clear was one a pull went across midfield and no one stayed back for him as turnover. They had a really good opportunity for a fast break there. So I mean, there's just things, kind of some mental breakdowns, which the Bonnies are going to have to focus on. Third quarter, you really knew St. Bonaventure went into a 1-4-1 to force some 1v1 matchups. And you could just tell they just did not have the athletes compared to High Point. All these 1v1 matchups, they kept getting different matchups. They got the short stick on the short stick. They got the LSM buried. And in whatever short stick D-midi it was playing the Dodger, I mean, it didn't look like he even really had to work that hard. So the Bonnies are really going to need to find someone that could step up as a consistent offensive threat. That's probably the biggest thing they're going to have to work on for this upcoming week. And so it was 11-0 at the end of the third, and then 2 goals given up in the fourth. Fourth was kind of just a wash. I mean, everyone kind of knew it was going to happen. But you got to give High Point a lot of credit. They came to play. The game was really solid by them. It's going to take a lot of work to find things they're going to do correct. But I guess that kind of sums up the game story for the premiere for St. Bonaventure. They have a conference opener in 2 weeks against Manhattan, and I think that's probably more of a fair time to start kind of seeing how they're growing. Manhattan, a team in the Metro that is they've struggled some in the previous years, so maybe the Bonnies could get some offensive output on them. Obviously, Manhattan plays next week, so for all I know, they might just crush the team they open with, and then what I just said is totally void. But I mean, that'll sum up everything. If you like this video, please leave a like and feel free to subscribe so we can keep growing this YouTube channel. If you didn't already, you can follow Logical Lacrosse on Instagram and Twitter at logical_lacrosse. And we also have a website. I just launched it. You can find it at www.logicallacrosse.com. I'll be posting articles for analysis for every Division I game. I'll be giving predictions. I'll be giving watch lists for best players. I'll even try to give some love to the D2 and D3. I'm going to start getting into that, and that's also really good lacrosse. One little shout out at the end of the video is Barden was the best team to open up full-fledged NCAA lacrosse. They lost to Lincoln Memorial, the D2 level, 14-13, which was really impressive for a first-year program to do that. But that'll sum it up, so thank you so much for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day.